Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 252 stroke video. Sadly, this one's a little bit more somber than the previous ones because, as the title suggests, I already broke it. We knew this was coming, right? I mean, I bought a used bike with 60 hours on it, and I don't exactly ride these things easy, and so yeah, she's broken, and today we get to go ahead and fix her. More accurately, I think it was probably already partially broken when I bought it, and then I obviously finished it off. Because you guys may recall in the first video that I posted riding this thing, I was hearing some like sketchy, crackly, like fluttery noises. And at one point in the video, I even looked down at the bike and I put a little caption that said I was hearing some noises, but I was like, screw it, we're just gonna rip anyways. Probably pretty dumb of me. I don't suggest that you guys do that, but I had to get the content for you guys. But then once I got off the track, everyone was like, yo dude, that thing sounds good, but it's definitely lean. You're getting some lean pops out there. So I was like, oh, me being an inexperienced two-stroke rider, I was like, okay, these noises that I'm hearing, it's just lean popping, no problem. I have Electron Carburetor sitting in my barn. I will throw that on, go shred again, and it should be good to rip. So obviously, video number 2, we put the Electron Carburetor on that thing, and it definitely fixed all the jetting issues. It's not lean anymore. It sounded really, really good the next time I rode it, but I was still hearing that like fluttery, cracky noise.
Listen. Did you hear that? A little crack? Yeah. Get up there so you can hear it when I let off.
It has a little cracking noise, like a mist or something.
Kind of only does it sometimes.
I didn't hear it that time. I heard that.
What is that?
I don't know.
Which led me to believe that obviously it was not a lean popping noise. And I didn't really believe that it was lean popping because it sounded more mechanical, and I should have paid attention and taken it apart that time. Probably put myself in a little bit of danger riding that thing. But once again, it's for the content. And what better content is there than blowing up a bike on the face of a jump? Just kidding. So at that point I was doing a little bit of research, found out that a broken reed could create some fluttering noises, so I thought, okay, easy peasy. I have a Boyson rad valve on the way. I'll go ahead and swap that out, because who knows how long the V-Force reeds has been on that thing. Swapped it out, went riding again, and was still hearing the noise. And so finally, I just decided, you know what? Better take this thing apart before I actually hurt myself. So I sent some video over to Connor. He was my mechanic at the Indiana Pro National and the Millville Pro National. Super solid mechanic, really knowledgeable guy. He noticed that it was really only making that cracking noise as I was like feathering the clutch coming out of corners when I was like hard on the gas, feathering the clutch, just trying to get the RPMs up. He said, guarantee you take the clutch apart, you will find your problem. And so that is what we are gonna do today. Hopefully it's just like a broken clutch plate or something and I can throw some new clutch plates in, but we'll find out. However, I really want to get this thing fixed because Nicky Z, my videographer from the Pro Nationals this season, this is his bike here. I didn't pick up another 450. We're planning a little south trip down to Monster Mountain this weekend, and I want to get this thing fixed so that I can shred it and make more videos and just have fun before I tear it down. Hopefully it's an easy fix and we can get shredding this thing this weekend. You guys can see the bike is a little bit muddy. I tried a couple more things and rode it around my yard, so there's a little bit of mud on it, so apologies for that. Sometimes that's just how it goes. But anyways, let's go ahead, pull this clutch off of here. Hopefully it's an easy fix and hopefully we can get ripping this thing. If it's not an easy fix, we'll just go ahead and start tearing this bike apart because as you can probably tell, I have no idea if that showed up, but it's getting pretty cold out here anyway, so realistically there's not much riding weather left. And if it is something terminal, we will just go ahead and start tearing this thing apart, getting it ready for the build process. So either way, fun video coming up. Let's tear into this thing, see what we see, and hopefully it's an easy fix. Flattering angle, you can really see all the spots that you missed with the power washer. Go ahead and pop the clutch cover off first and kind of inspect that, and hopefully we find the culprit inside of there. So let's get to it. Pressure plate looks fine, so I'd say that's not the culprit. Okay, well, nothing appears to be broken. I was thinking maybe one of these fingers would have been snapped or something like that, but I think we did discover the issue. Turn your ears on, take a listen to this. There's definitely supposed to be a little play in these. When I take my brand new 450s apart to put my recluse systems in, they have a little bit of play, but this is definitely pretty substantial. And you can just hear that noise that it's making in there. If I'm able to make that much noise with my hand, you can imagine how much noise that would make as I'm feathering the clutch and you have, you know, 53 horsepower racking on this thing. So I think it's pretty safe to say that one of the bearings or the bushings in the bottom end is completely shot. That's obviously not something I keep in stock in my garage. I had a recluse system sitting in a box over there, and I was hoping that it was just gonna be like a broken clutch plate. I could throw that in and it would be good to rip, but I'm thinking this is a little more serious than that. Sadly, I think it's time to retire this beast for the winter. There's no way we're gonna have it ready for this south trip, which is definitely a bummer, but you know what? It just means we get to start the build sooner. So no more riding content on this thing, but obviously we're gonna have a lot of sick build content. So with that being said, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead, just throw the plates and stuff back in this thing, throw it together real quick, and then start tearing it apart, get the plastic, wheels, suspension, all that stuff off, get it all sent out so that we can start the build process. So slight bummer, but also pretty exciting because we get to start this build now. So put the clutch back in, start tearing this beast apart. Okay, when you get to this stage, it's critical that you get all of these bolts tightened to the correct torque spec, which is only 6 Newton meters, which is not a lot. Most of you guys probably don't have a torque wrench that goes down that low, so I present to you this little unit. This is a bicycle torque wrench that's preset to 6 Newton meters, and the Allen head key fits right in those bolts. So this is actually made by Trek, the bicycle company. Highly recommend you guys pick one of these up for doing this job. It makes it super easy. You do not want to over tighten these because they snap very easily. Ask me how I know that. So anyways, just a little tip for you guys. I'll link it in the description. You guys should definitely pick one of these up. Sprocket! What do you think, bud? Are you sad the 2-stroke is broken? Yeah, you're not sad actually. You hate noises. You love when the dirt bikes are broken. They don't make those scary noises. You're gonna learn. One day you're gonna be a moto dog. Swear. That's what happens. I take 5 minutes to love up on the pup. Dog hair all over me. Clutch is back together. Now we have to tear the rest of the bike apart. So I think I'm just gonna start with getting all the plastic off of this thing and then giving it a really good spray down, because as I said, it's a little bit muddy right now, and you always wanna start with a really clean slate when you're doing these builds. So go ahead, strip this thing down, give it a really, really good spray down, and we will go from there. I know y'all like my bike wash moon boots, but please, just try to keep yourself contained. All right, Much better, ladies and gentlemen. Got the steed nice and clean. This thing is kind of just dirt stained and everything, and you know, we'll get it 100% clean while we're taking it apart and rebuilding everything. We'll make sure this thing looks absolutely brand new, like it just rolled off the showroom floor. But for 60 hours, I think it's looking pretty good right now. You always want to like take all the plastic, take the tank off and everything, and get it really clean before you start the build process, because you just don't want to be having to deal with all the dirt and grime and mud and everything falling out of all the little crevices that you normally miss during the washing process. So pretty happy with that. I actually picked up a Weekend Warrior vapor blasting cabinet from Vapor Honing Technologies. So that thing will come in super handy, cleaning up all of the dirt stains and just corrosion and stuff off of all the parts. It's gonna make this thing look absolutely brand new, like we just rolled it off the showroom. That should also be cool because I plan on learning how to Cerakote, maybe doing a little bit of powder coating and stuff like that. So the Weekend Warrior vapor honing cabinet will be really good for prepping the metal surfaces for those sort of things to help them stick and just get an even coat. Really excited to get the barn finished so that I can move all that stuff in here and start using it, because I think that's gonna really make this build go even better. But I think that's gonna do it for the first episode. I don't know if this is really the first episode of the build or not, considering it was more so discovering what was wrong with it, realizing that it's kind of terminal and we're gonna have to retire it and start this build process early. So I guess this is technically part one of the teardown and rebuild series. So hey, silver lining and everything, we get to rebuild this thing and have fun with all that, touch up on our two-stroke mechanic skills and learn a lot on the way. Obviously, we're gonna completely rebuild this thing top and bottom end. I think the plan is to go with the KTM OEM 300 cylinder and piston kit. My goal with this thing is to make it like a viable practice option for next summer. Obviously, I'll have two 450s, a race bike and a practice bike, but I want this thing to be as competitive to a 450 as possible so that when I go to the practice track, I can actually consider doing some training motos on it. If it's just a bike that, you know, is super slow and it's just something I want to play around on, I'm probably really not going to ride it that much, because at the end of the day, motocross is still my job, and I can't really give up those training days just to play around on a two-stroke. So my goal is to make this thing as competitive with a 450 as possible so I can actually use it as a training tool. So I think the 300 kit will be huge. Maybe we'll get some like porting and stuff done from, you know, Twisted Developments or Race Tech or something like that. I'm gonna try my hand at doing a full bottom end rebuild, something I've never done before, but if you're gonna start, you might as well do it on a two-stroke. I'll probably have one of my buddies who knows what they're doing come over and kind of walk me through it and make sure I'm not screwing anything up. Because at the end of the day, I am hitting some pretty big jumps and going pretty fast on this thing, so I don't want to mess anything up and absolutely wad my brains out just because I was stubborn and wanted to do it myself. So definitely we'll have someone watching over me who knows exactly what's going on to make sure I don't mess anything up. But it should be a cool process. I want this to be as hands-on as possible for me, because like builds in the past, you know, I would take the bike apart, but then I would send the parts out to other people to have them do the coating, you know, the engine work, the suspension work and stuff like that. I want this build to be as hands-on as possible and just a huge learning experience, especially now that I have the race shop that I can do all of that work comfortably in. Before, I was out of a garage or just a tiny little space in somebody else's workshop, and those conditions just weren't ideal for doing stuff myself and learning. So now that I have my own place, I fully intend on doing, you know, 99% of the work myself. Obviously, there's some stuff that I won't trust myself to do, but most of it I want to learn. That's gonna do it for episode 1. We're at a pretty good point here now where I'll just start tearing things off and getting right into the build, but I pretty much have to take an inventory, find out exactly what parts I need, and get all that stuff on the way, so that when Nikki Z and I are back from our Monster Mountain trip, I can dive right into this thing, start tearing it apart, coating stuff, rebuilding stuff, and just getting nitty gritty. So hope you guys are excited. It's a little bit of a bummer that the bike broke when it did, but you know what? This build is gonna be sick, and hopefully you guys are really excited. So hope you guys are enjoying the two-stroke content so far. Pretty soon this thing is gonna be on the track, shredding better, faster, handling better than ever. But in the meantime, we're gonna have a fun build on our hands. So anyways, peace out guys. Catch you in the next one. Later.